everyone, it's Sharon here. Today I've got this fun card to share with you that I made using some new stamps from My Favourite Things. The stamp set's called Merry Everything, and it's got this really sweet Santa image, which as you can see I had to put on an action wobbler. He's just so sweet. And to go with that I've used some dies from W+9. This set's called Tree Border Die, and then I've got this embossing folder from Creative Expressions which gives a snowy falling snow background. So that works perfectly with these. So to start with I'm going to stamp the Santa, and I've got some Copic friendly cardstock here. I'm in the UK, so I actually buy my cardstock from Ryman's. They do a coated cardstock which is great for using with Copics and Pro markers. So that's what I use. And I'm going to use Memento ink. And for this image I'm going to use cocoa brown rather than a black ink. The lines don't show quite so much with the brown, and I kind of, for some images I prefer that look. So I've stamped him, and then as you can see he's holding his hand up so that he can hold various things, and I'm going to pop one of these presents on top of his hand so it looks like he's holding up a gift. I'll just line that up. I don't need to mask, it's such a small image. You can, if you're careful, you can get away without needing to mask his hand. And then I'm going to do some colouring. Today I'm going to use Pro markers, and I'll speed through this because I'm not doing anything fancy. It's quite a small image, so I'm literally using 2 shades of every colour. I've got a crimson red and then more of a burgundy red, just for a slight variation, but I'm not going mad with the shading because there's so much going on in this card with the background and the trees and the fact that he's on an action wobbler as well. You're really not going to be focused too much on if there's lots of shading on the colouring, so I'll whiz forward to the end of this just to save time on this video. So I've whizzed forward to the end and I'm just finishing off the gift, and then I'll fussy cut him out. So that's all done. I'll pop him to one side now, and then I can prepare the rest of the card. I've die cut from white card the tree border die, and then from some green polka dot paper I've die cut several of the trees. In the set you get a small and a large tree, and there are 6 trees in this little scene, so you need 3 of each size. And I'm just attaching these with PVA glue. Really easy to do. I absolutely love this die set. Now as you can see here I'm putting the larger trees on first, which are at the front, and now I'm realising that the tree behind them obviously would be behind them so I'm having to just lift them up and tuck that in. Luckily I'd realised straight away and they hadn't dried, so I was able to just lift them up and make sure that tree in the background is really in the background. So I'll just pop the rest on. This die I think is really useful. I like landscape type dies that you can build a scene with, and I think I've got some other I think they're memory box ones that have got little houses and things, and I thought this set would be great to use with those to give layers of a background, so I shall probably have an experiment with them to mix and match them a bit. So that's my tree background done, and I'm now going to die cut a circle from this so that it can lay on top of the other circles. And the dies I'm using for this are fabulous, they're a nice big size. It's the lil'inker stitched matte circle die set. I've die cut the same size from white card, and then I've run that through with the snowy embossing folder, and then I've die cut the larger size from some polka dot red paper, so that will give a nice frame to my scene. So now they're all ready, I can get my card base ready. The card base I'm using is 15 centimetres squared, so that's it's about 6 inches by 6 inches. And I've cut out some craft card, just slightly smaller, so it'll give a small border around the edge. And then I can start layering this up. As you can see, the red circle kind of takes up most of the card front, which is good because I wanted this scene to sort of be the focal point, and then the text I'm going to stamp is just going to be at the bottom. Now, just to give a bit of extra detail, I'm going around the edge with a white gel pen just to put some faux stitching on there. I love this look on craft cards to have white stitching. It's something I do a lot on my cards, and actually a lot of the ladies that come to my classes recognise my cards when they're in magazines and things, because I quite often have this on them. So it's kind of my thing, I suppose. So I'm just whizzing around the edge, and just the last one here, and then I can start to put together the rest of the card. I'm just checking I've got it the right way around, and then I can add the snowy background. And then for the trees, I'm going to use some foam tape because I want them to sort of sit forward from the snow. So I'm just popping foam tape all over the back. And then I can line this up with the bottom of the other circle, and it gives a bit of sort of perspective on it. So it looks good. And then I can just check where I'm going to put my Santa. And now I'm just going to use one of the text greetings from this set, and I'm going with the you're always on my nice list, because I thought that's so sweet. And I'm going to stamp this with versamark onto some black cardstock, and I was just about to stamp it here and then realised I hadn't used my anti-static tool, so I'm quickly grabbing that. Particularly with white embossing powder on black, you really don't want any stray pieces of embossing powder because they really would show. So it's definitely worth using an anti-static bag or tool. And the white powder I'm using is from Wow, and it's their super fine, I think it's called Bright White, and I have to say it's my favourite white powder. So I'm just, you can't quite see, I'm slightly off camera here, but I was letting my heat gun heat up for a few minutes before I brought it to my card. If you make sure your heat gun's really hot before you take it anywhere near it, you get less warping of the card. So I've cut that into a thin strip, and I'm just using some PVA glue, and I'm just going to put it underneath the circle, just making sure it's straight. This text is perfect for this card because obviously I haven't left myself much room to add anything else, and really I want the focus to be my Father Christmas, so I think this layout's worked quite well. So I'm just peeling the backing off the action wobbler, and then I can pop him onto it, and then peel the backing off the other side, and then that just goes onto the card. For this stamp, he's quite a good size, so the action wobbler just about fitted on the back. I might go back and trim it actually. There are a couple of little bits where you can see the shine of it, but I do quite often find with these that I have to trim them down a bit. There we go, it works perfectly. I'll have to decide who to give this card to now. I think it's going to have to be one of my nieces or nephews. Here's my finished card. I'll put links in the description box below on YouTube to all the products I've used, the different stamp sets and the dies, etc. So if you're interested in getting any of these goodies, there'll be a link there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.